Good morning, confirmands. I know this does not look like my office because it's not my office. I'm actually visiting my parents in Northern Virginia. So I'm taking a break from our visit to record this lesson for you guys that you'll see on Sunday mornings. So let me just share my screen here so we can get started. All right, so there is only one real announcement, and that is tonight there is no lighthouse. We know that this is fall break for a lot of the schools, and we figured a lot of people would be out of town or maybe doing something else because of the long weekend. So no lighthouse tonight, but we will start back up next week having lighthouse. So I'll make that announcement before next week's lesson. All right, so for the next 2 weeks, we are going to be talking about, can only one religion be true? We have lots and lots of religions that we know of. You probably have friends who are of different religions, believe different things. And going through being able to claim your faith, this is one of the things you have to think about and have to kind of decide is Christianity the only true religion, or are there other religions that are valuable or are, could be seen as being legitimate. That's the word I'm looking for. And so one of the things, we're going to break this up into 2 weeks. Today, I'm going to be talking about Eastern religions. And then next week, I'll be talking about Western religions. But in both of the lessons, I want to talk about what those other religions are and how they compare to Christianity. Because I think in the end, when you look at all of the religions of the world, we start to see how Christianity is so very unique and so very different. And the God that we believe in is different than all the other gods that we hear about in the world. So let's get started. We are going to, so the first thing I want you guys to think about is to think about as many religions as you can. So just for a second, think not Protestant religions, not, Episcopal and Baptist and Lutheran and those, but world religions. So things like Hinduism and Buddhism that we're going to be talking about today, Taoism, which is from Japan, any of the Native American religions, spiritualism, animalism, and then of course Judaism and Islam. We're going to be talking about those next week. You can go on and on naming or thinking about all the different religions in the world. But actually, before we start talking about religions, we need to take a second and talk about truth and what truth is. Because in today's society, especially, there is a lot of misnaming of words. And I know that when Arthur did his Solid Soul series, one of his sermons touched on this. But I want to distinguish for us, for these next two lessons, the difference between truth and opinion. So I can say that the Plano West mascot is the Wolves. I can say that the sky is blue. And I can say that Michael Agnew has a beard. All of those things are true. If you ask anybody, if you said, what is the Plano West mascot? Everybody would say it's the Wolves. Or if they would say, I don't know, but they wouldn't say, oh, well, they're the, Wolverines or something like that, because we can go and prove the fact that their mascot is are the Wolves. Same with Michael's beard. You can say Michael doesn't have a beard, but if you met him and you looked at him, you would be able to see a beard. So that is truth. Though truth is what is reflective of reality. There's also opinion, and opinion has been hijacked a little bit by a term that we hear a lot, and that term is my truth. You hear a lot of people say, well, that's fine for you, but my truth is this. And what they're saying is not, this is what is absolutely true. They're saying, this is my opinion, or this is what I have experienced. So let's say when I was a kid, I got bit by a dog. And so I believe that all dogs are aggressive and can hurt me. For someone who had been bitten by a dog, they could say, this is my truth. I had a terrible experiences with a dog when I was younger. And so I'm afraid of dogs because I think they're all aggressive. And in that context, they would be justified in saying that. But if they came to my house and my two dogs, all they would be met with was, dogs jumping on them and wanting to lick them, not aggressive dogs, but dogs just that are happy to see them. So the truth is that some dogs are aggressive, but not all dogs are. Whereas that person who had a bad experience can say, that's my truth. And in essence, they are, but what they're really saying is my opinion is, or from my experience, I believe that most dogs are aggressive, or all dogs are aggressive. So do you see there's a difference there? Truth reflects what real reality is. And when people say this is my truth, it's just what they have experienced and what their opinion is. And when we look at the world religions, we realize all of them cannot be true, because some of them have belief systems that are in total opposition of each other. So in a minute, we are going to learn a little bit about Hinduism and Buddhism. And in Hinduism and Buddhism, they believe in reincarnation, that you live a life, you die, and then you come back to life as someone or something else. Well, that's one, religious theory or tenet of their faith. But as Christians, we believe you live and you die, and then you go to heaven. You don't keep coming back to life over and over and over again. Those two things cannot be true at the same time. One has to be true and one has to be not true. And so the question is, what are you going to see or learn or feel to decide which one you believe is true and which one is not? All right, so let's go on to talk a little bit about Eastern religions. Most Eastern religions are based on spirituality and philosophies more than gods themselves. So here's the slide that says truth is in accordance with the actual state of affairs. And just because you want something to be true doesn't mean that it is true. And this is something else that we say when we say this is my truth, or I'm going to believe this to be true. Well, you can believe something to be true. You can believe that the Plano West mascot is the Wolverine, but you would be wrong, because that's not what their mascot is. So just because you want something to be true doesn't make it true. All right, so here is an outline of how it breaks down for world religions. Christianity has 32% of the world claim themselves to be Christians. 23% are Islam. That number may have changed a little bit since this chart was made. But when you look at all of these are all different religions with different beliefs. And all of them may have some truth in them. As a matter of fact, I think after today and next week, you will see some similarities between all of the major religions of the world. There are very few religions that say murder is okay, or stealing is okay, or lying is okay. All of those sort of moral distinctions, most religions believe those to be true. But they have enough differences in them, like the reincarnation example, that all of them can't be true at the same time. They're not so similar that all of them can be the same. One of them has to be true and all the rest of them false. And so we're going to be talking about what those differences are. So when we talk about Hinduism started in the country in the area of India, in the eastern part of the world. It goes back, the belief systems of Hinduism go back to the Iron Age. It's a very, very ancient religion. Some say it's the oldest religion in the world. And as over time, their beliefs have changed a little bit in what Hinduism is. But for the most part, it has stayed relatively intact. You will find people who who follow Hinduism, not only in India, but in Bangladesh and Nepal, some places in Indonesia, and obviously some places in the United States and in Western places, who have moved here from where Hinduism was sort of their the religion of the state, so to speak. So what are some things about Hinduism? In Hinduism, God is not a life force. God is a life force. He is not a personal being. We think of our God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit as personal beings. In Hinduism, it's more of a life force. It's more of an energy as opposed to a personal being. The way you achieve what they consider to be salvation, that comes with spiritual knowledge. And when you become more enlightened and you become to understand things better, then you start to do good works. And it's those good works, it's the works that we do as humans that project us into what will happen to us in our next lives. So karma is based on works. There is good karma. When you do lots of good stuff, you get good karma. When you do lots of bad stuff, you get bad karma, and they balance they go against each other. And through reincarnation, man is working to eliminate all of their bad karma. So if you have lived a life where you've done lots and lots of bad things, you will have bad karma. And in the next life, you will be born into a life that is hard and difficult. And in that life, you will try to do more good things than bad things. And if you accomplish that, then in your life after that, you'll be a little bit better off. So many of you may be familiar with the caste system that they have in India. There are, some people are poor, are born, they're called the untouchables, but they're born incredibly poor with nothing. And the belief in Hinduism is they are born in that caste. They are born with nothing because they have lived really bad past lives. And those people who are born into wealth or born into good families, born into with a lot of benefits, they are born into that because they've had a lot of good karma in their past lives. They've done a lot of really, really good things. And their reward for that is a life that is easier, more pleasant than those who have done bad things. So what you do in your life now impacts what your life is going to be in the future. And the goal is to constantly get better and better as you work yourselves through all of these life cycles, so that when you finally get rid of all of your bad karma, you reach what is called nirvana. It's this place of total enlightenment and goodness. And once you have reached nirvana, you are set free from this cycle of life, death, and then rebirth. So to get better, to get to a place where you are in nirvana, the goal is to do good things. Much of it is based on your works, what you do, how good you are to people, how good you are to the world, to the earth, to other animals, things like that. All of that builds up good karma that you want, so that eventually in a later life, you will get to nirvana and be able to just remain in that place of great enlightenment. All right, Buddhism is a religion that actually comes out of Hinduism. So there was a man named Siddhartha Gautama, and he was born in 563, and he was born in modern Nepal, and he was a very rich young man, and he gave up all of his possessions to seek out how to rid the world or man of suffering. And this was his main goal, is to figure out how to relieve ourselves of suffering. That man, Siddhartha Gautama, ends up becoming what is referred to as the Buddha. And Buddha means the enlightened one. He never viewed himself as a god. He never thought of himself as a god, but rather he was the first one who developed this system to try to get to a place of higher enlightenment. And that's where that name Buddha comes from, or Buddhism comes from. So in Buddhism, it's irrelevant whether God exists or not. Whether there's a God or not a God doesn't matter, because what you are trying to do is relieve yourself of suffering. And the Buddhist religion bases itself on 4 noble truths. The first noble truth is that life is suffering. The second is that suffering is caused by attachments to people and to things. The third is that man can overcome these attachments. And then the fourth is that you overcome those attachments by following the holy Eightfold Path. And in a second, I'll tell you guys what that is. But again, it's this idea that we have to work to improve what our life is going to be in the next life. So like Hinduism, because Buddhism comes out of Hinduism, they believe in reincarnation. They believe in karma. They believe in this idea that the good things you do in this life will make your life, your next life better. And the goal is to escape the suffering through this process of incarnation, and every life you doing better at it until finally you are free. We really have no soul in the Buddhist thinking. We just have this sort of karmic energy that lives, that is the source of our life force throughout all of our lives, until finally we become good enough where we escape it and we become totally enlightened. Now, different than in Hinduism, where once you become enlightened, you get to remain in the state of nirvana. My understanding that it is in Buddhism, when you become totally enlightened, your life force is released out into the universe. And so in essence, you sort of dissipate out into the ether. That is what enlightenment is sort of allowing your life force to go out into the universe and just be good. And as I said, it comes out of Hinduism. So here's the Eightfold Path. So if in Buddhism, life is suffering, and we want to get rid of that suffering, we do that through the Holy Eightfold Path. And these are all the things that you have to do to stay on that path to help relieve suffering. The first is to have the right resolve or intention. In some cases, this means sort of shedding your family or your responsibilities for this religious commitment to following the path. There is the commitment to right speech. You shouldn't say bad things, no rude speech, lying, anything that will cause discord with other people. Your speech is to be good and positive and building people up. There is the right conduct or action. That means you don't kill people, you don't injure people, you don't set people up to fail. All of those things would be bad things, and you're not following the path. The fourth is the right livelihood. That means that there's no trading in weapons, living beings, meat, liquor, poisons, things like that. Remember, this comes out of a very ancient religion where trading weapons and human beings and things like that was more common. But the idea is your livelihood should not benefit out of the suffering of others. You have to follow the right effort. That means working to generate wholesome states. Now, some of this gets past what my knowledge is of it, but it's this idea that there has to be an effort to keep going through the Eightfold Path throughout your lifetime. The next is the right mindfulness, being conscious of what you are doing, being conscious of how that's impacting those around you, being self-aware and making sure that nothing you're doing or saying is causing harm to yourself or to anybody else. Then there is the right samadhi, which is insight, and that you get that insight by practicing 4 different stages of meditation. That through meditation, you start having this correct insight, which helps you do all the other parts of the Eightfold Path. And then finally, you have the right view, that our actions have consequences after death and in your future life. So the idea being that you will stop and think about what you're doing. If it's going to be harmful or hurtful to somebody else, you would not do it because you don't want that to impact your future life. So again, as you can see, as in Hinduism and Buddhism, there is a lot of burden placed on the individual believer of having to do and say the right thing, that we have to control our action and our speech and everything that we do to be able to build up the good karma so that in our future lives, eventually we will get to this place of enlightenment. Everything is based on our own efforts. Now, there are other types of Eastern religions. There's Taoism and Shintoism in Japan. These are the 2 biggest ones. And so these are the ones I wanted to focus on today. But as you can see, they're very different from Christianity. There's really no God. There is no need for redemption. We are not considered to be sinners or do bad things, but the bad things that we do can impact the other lives that we will have. And our past lives impact the life that we are having right now. All right, so in both of these weeks, today and next week, one of the things I really want you guys to do is concentrate and look at the different religions and how they compare to Christianity. Don't be afraid to look and see at what some of the similarities are and what some of the differences are, because I think it's important for everybody to understand that Christianity, when it's looked at in the context of other world religions, really does stand out as being different and coming from an incredibly loving God who does a lot of the work or all of the work for us. So what I've done here is under Buddhism or Hinduism and Buddhism, I have a statement that is supported by that belief system. And then I have a verse, and I would love for you guys to go look up the verse, because it's a Christian response to whatever the Hindu or Buddhist tenet of faith is. So it will be a way for you to be able to compare what Buddhists believe and what Hindus believe, and then what the Bible says about those things. So I hope you will take some time to look up all those verses so you can see sort of what the Christian counterpoint is to each of these tenets. All right, I'm going to save the question and discussion until next week about how God sees people of different religions. Do any Hindus or Buddhists make it to heaven? We're going to be talking about that a little bit next week, along with the differences between Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. Judaism, Islam, and Christianity are very much linked together, but there are some big differences. So we're going to talk about that, and then we'll talk about all world religions as it pertains to Christianity and whether the people of other religions make it to heaven. So to find out the answer for that, you get to tune in next week. Anyways, if you have any questions or you need anything, please don't feel, reach out to me, let me know so we can talk about it. These are pretty big questions. So I would love it if you would talk to, siblings or family members, your parents, about how they feel about it too. All of that you guys get to take into consideration when you're thinking about all of these religions and how they compare to Christianity. All right, I realize I didn't pray, so I'm going to pray really fast and then I'll let you guys go. Father God, thank you so much for everybody who is watching. Thank you for the complexity and tapestry that is this world and all the different religions. And thank you that we don't have to be afraid to look at them and compare them to you. I believe that you are the one true God, that you are the Lord of Lords and the God over all other gods that might be out there. And I just ask, Father, that you would make that clear to these confirmands, that any questions they would have, they wouldn't feel bad asking, because I am confident that you can stand up to any of those questions that they might have. I just ask blessings for them on this week and ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.